Good evening. Recently I was moved by an email message that I received through a friend, and it comes all the way from Prescott Valley, Arizona, and from a gentleman named Quang Nguyen, who is Vietnamese, and he's now a naturalized citizen. And he wrote a note about how appreciative he was of all the folks that served in the Vietnam War. I know that that's a war that perhaps we haven't fully recognized our veterans during that service, but this gentleman had the interest as well as just the appreciation for what our veterans did do during that time. And I'd like to read to you part of his speech. So this he delivered on Saturday, July the 24th of 2010. 35 years ago, if you were to tell me that I am going to stand up here speaking to a couple thousand patriots in English, I'd laugh at you, man. Every morning I wake up thanking God for putting me and my family in the greatest country on earth. I just want you to all know that the American dream does exist, and I am living the American dream. I was asked to speak to you about my experience as a first-generation Vietnamese American, but I'd rather speak to you as an American. I am a proud U.S. citizen, and here is my proof. It took me 8 years to get it, waiting in endless lines, but I got it, and I'm proud of it. I still remember the images of the Tet Offensive in 1968. I was 6 years old. Now, you might want to question how a 6-year-old boy could remember anything. Trust me, those images can never be erased. I can't even imagine what it's like for a young American soldier 10,000 miles away from home fighting on my behalf. 35 years ago, I left South Vietnam for political asylum. The war had ended. At age 13, I left with the understanding that I may or may not ever get to see my siblings or parents again. I was one of the first lucky 100,000 Vietnamese allowed to come to the U.S. Somehow my family and I were reunited 5 months later. Amazingly, in California, it was a miracle from God. If you haven't heard lately that this is the greatest country on earth, I am telling you that right now. It was the freedom and the opportunities presented to me that put me right here with all of you tonight. I also remember the barriers that I had to overcome every step of the way. This person standing tonight in front of you could not exist under a socialist, communist environment. By the way, if you think socialism is the way to go, I'm sure many people here will chip in to get you a one-way ticket out of here. And if you don't know, the only difference between socialism and communism is an AK-47 aimed at your head. That was my experience. In 1982, I stood with 1,000 new immigrants reciting the Pledge of Allegiance and listening to the national anthem for the first time as an American. To this day, I can't remember anything sweeter and more patriotic than that moment in my life. You see, America is not just a place on the map. It isn't just a physical location. It's an ideal, a concept. And if you are an American, you must understand the concept. You must accept this concept. And most importantly, you have to fight and defend this concept. This is about freedom and not free stuff, and that is why I'm standing here today. At this time, I would like to ask the Vietnam veterans to please stand, and I know I have a couple of my colleagues here who served proudly in the Vietnam War. I thank you for my life today. I thank you for the sacrifices and I thank you for giving me the freedom and liberty I have today. I now ask all veterans, firefighters, and police officers to please stand, and I know we have a few in the audience. On behalf of all first-generation immigrants, I thank you for your service, and may God bless you. This is from Quang Nguyen. He is creative director and founder of Cadis Advertising, LLC in Arizona. Thank you.
Okay. May we have the roll call, please?